This is Mark B. Goodson, fine art oil painter. I'm here to discuss with you paper towels. Seems like an awful humble subject, and typically it is. You wipe up with them and throw them away. But this is a friend to painters. And being an artist, I like having friends. So I have found that if I take a full sheet or half sheet like this, paper towel, and if I'm cleaning my brush or palette knife or whatever on here, then I have often tried to get good use out of it, and I end up turning it around, and inevitably at some point some paint on here ends up on me, and it just seemed impractical. Use a lot of paper towels this way and you get messy. So I came up with a solution so that that friend can function even better for us. So what I've done is I've determined that if I take and separate these sheets in a little stack of 6 paper towels, just divide them, stack them as I go, and I don't typically do this at my studio. This is something I'll do while I'm watching a movie or something at home, in the comfort of my own home. So I get the pleasure of watching a movie while I'm taking care of this seemingly menial task. So how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like we've got 5. The reason I like 6 in a stack is because the scissors don't have too hard of a time going through that. So then what I want to do is cut this into 5 pieces that are pretty much the same size as one another, so they stack well. So I'm kind of used to how wide they go. They need to be, so I just start cutting and slide that over, cut again. Apparently I could use some sharper scissors. So there's 2 pieces. Get that down. 3. Now I'll cut this last bit in half. And I'll have my 5 little stacks. So there's 5 stacks, 6 paper towel slices in each one, and then I stack these up, doesn't matter what order, and kind of act like I'm getting a deck of cards lined up or something, but here we go. So then, because sometimes when you cut them with the scissors, the edges of the paper towels will stick together, I then I just ruffle up the edges like that, and then I set it aside and do some more. But typically I don't do this part, then that part. What I will do is take the 6 that I pile up, and then I'll make a stack of them. So I put some one direction, some the next direction, sort of like this, and then this, and then this, and then this, until I get quite a tall stack, and then I'll just set it aside, and I'll do it again, and I'll have a couple of stacks of these, and then I will work away at the stacks by taking 6 of the paper towels, kind of make sure they're lined, and then I'll cut them again. So I've got the 4 cuts, give me 5 pieces, and then they stack up really nice like that. And then, because I'm going to end up with a lot of them as I do a whole series, a whole session of getting paper towels ready while I'm watching a movie. Then after I've got them all stacked up like this, along the couch or wherever I'm at, then I'll get my tote out and I'll stack them inside there. You can see that they're stacked inside there. And that makes it real nice to have a lot of them all ready to go at any time when I need to put more out for while I'm painting. So I end up usually having 2 or 3 of these totes full of these strips of paper towels. I'm going to show you how this is such a benefit to us. All right, so we go from cutting them to actually using them. So I'm just going to rotate the camera over here, and we'll see that I've got a palette here, but first I'm going to get this palette out of the way and show that when I bring some of these out of the tote, I will make little piles. I'll separate the 6 again. Doesn't really matter exactly how many there are, but because they came in those 6, they seem to divide out easily enough. So I'll end up doing that, and I'll have a lot of them clear across here. And then I'll take them, and I learned while I was a child, and my mother was involved in politics, and we were taking flyers around to people's houses, that first we often would collate those papers. And so that you had one of each, even though we started in stacks of one kind. Anyway, we collated them, and this is how we would do it to get, so we could get hold of one piece of paper. We would pinch it here, push down, then pinch it here, push up, pinch it here, push down, pinch it. And so we're going through this pinch and push motion, and it ends up separating the towels out like that. I guess you can see. There you go. All right, and then I make a pile of those, and it turns out that the pile ends up square because I'll put some this direction, then some this direction, then some this direction, and some the other direction. So these are ready to go here. And I will put them so that the towel that's on top is closer to me, so that it's easy to grab the edge and lift the one I need, rather than having to try to sneak one out from underneath others. So just do that pinch and pull, pinch and push, pinch and push until the towels separate again, and then put them on the pile. Pinch and push, 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 and then put them on the pile. And then I get this stack up high enough that when my computer swings over here on a Freedom extension arm, and the bottom of my computer, if it's going to start hitting these and knocking them off, then I've gone too tall. So after a while, you'll know if you have a similar setup, how tall to make this pile. But it's nice to have a lot, like 2 or 3 times the height of this one, as this pile is at the moment, because then that lets you work longer without having to go through this process again. So just set yourself up for success and for a good work session. So let's say I've got my palette out here, and see, where did I put my palette knife? Right over here. So let's presume we're painting along, going to make a little bit of a mess on the palette surface, and not really a mess, it's just working with the paint. We might have this color, and let's say some of this color. Let's bring out another color. We can mix them, you know, just as though you were working along doing a painting. You end up getting your palette knife dirty. So what we do then is we take one of these paper towel strips, we fold it in half so it's got enough body to it. It's not just going to leak through and get our hands, because part of our purpose is to have clean hands, not get all messy, because then it ends up on your pants, your pocket, or on your face, on your ear when you scrap it, or if you pick your nose, that'd be terrible. See, you don't want people to see it like that. So we fold it in half, and then we pinch it and slide the knife out, and then we slide the edge of the knife on the paper towel. So we've got where we pinch the body of the paint out, and then the edges, because otherwise, if you only pinched like that, but you didn't clean the edge, then the next time you go mixing into something else, oh, look at that. This is not what we're trying to achieve every time. I end up getting a little bit of that red color we were working with now mixed into some other color. And it depends on how fastidious you might be about it, but sometimes you don't want your color to get corrupted while you're working on something specific or particular or detailed or whatever the case may be. This just lets you know how you can control it if you choose. So here we are, getting more paint on my palette knife, and I just pinch it in there, pull it out, and wipe the edges of my palette knife. And pretty clean palette knife, ready to use on the next color. So you can see that I'm getting a lot of, I can come back to the same paper towel many times and clean it. Here we go, can do it again. Paint, pinch, wipe, and there's another spot that I got the towel dirty. Let's try again. I know you get this, but I'm just wanting you to see just how dirty this towel can get and still be functional for you. We could still do this several times. There's plenty of space in here. So I'm going to do it because I need you to see something about this. So now let's say we get this area dirty, okay? And say we could do a little bit more there. So we're gonna pinch and wipe the edges. Let's say that's dirty enough, we don't want to mess with it anymore. So what we're going to do now, we're going to fold this in half, and now look at that. We have two clean surfaces again. We haven't got our hands dirty yet. Look at that, it's nice. So now we can paint some more, then we come back, clean our palette knife out, we pinch it, we wipe it. See, we've made a bit of a mess. Seems like it's bigger because there's less space on this portion of the paper towel. But let's do it again. See, we can do it quite a few times. Let's try another color just for the fun of it. Let's pinch this blue out of there and wipe the edge. Now, if we decide that's as dirty as we want to get this particular paper towel, we can fold it again. Gotta be careful here a little bit. It's starting to let loose there. So here we go. Let's try again. We can pinch our paper towel and wipe it. Now we're not gonna get as many uses out of this last fold as we have for the previous folds, but we certainly can get more than one use out of it. So that's a pretty well used paper towel with a pretty clean hand. So we're doing good. So that's how we can keep the palette knife clean. Or if we're working with a brush, we're painting along, we got some paint in our brush. It could be down deeper, could be a bigger body of paint. Let's try that. Let's put all these paints together so we have more paint here. And let's scoop it up with our brush. See, we've got paint in this brush. See that? Nice. There's lots of paint in there. I mean, you could have a lot more, but that's what we've got now. So, how would I clean this brush? I would take a paper towel, pinch the body of that paint out. Well, if I had a lot of paint on there, I might first put it on my palette with my palette knife, flat side down, and I would push that down and squeeze the paint out. You know, if there's quite a bit of paint in there, I would do that. And then I would keep it for the next time I come back to that color. I still have that paint rather than just chucking it. So now from doing that, I've got my palette knife dirty again. So I just take my paper towel, fold it in half, pinch it, wipe the edges, set my palette knife down. Gonna clean my brush. So I pinch the paint out of there. See, I'm getting that paint out of there. All right, so then I take it into my mineral spirits. And what I do is just use this little, it's like a nuts and bolts holder you can get at a hardware store, though you can do this lots of different ways. And then I just get film canisters, little plastic film holders, and I put 3 in here that are thinner for odorless mineral spirits, and 1 for my sun-thickened linseed oil. So this is the one, I choose one, and that's the first one I work in, and it ends up the dirtiest. The thinner gets the dirtiest. So I can dip that in there. I don't swirl it around in there. I don't bust it against anything in the bottom. Then I take and I pinch that out. Now see, I'm getting color and thinner, so it makes a bigger blotch of color on my palette or on my paper towel. but that works just great. And then gradually, as I get to where I'm not getting much color out of it, I've got most of the paint out, which I'm not quite there yet, then I will, see it's coming much less paint. I can swirl it on there a little bit, swirl it on there a little bit, or I can pinch it again a little bit. I'm still getting some color out of there, but it's not a lot. So if I want to now, I can swish it around in the bottom of that. Let's let the bristles kind of go like this on the bottom of that, kind of back and forth. And then it knocks out some more of that paint. So I can do that a couple of times. Feel like I'm getting the paint out of the brush. And then fold my paper towel again. See, I've taken it like that, and now I've folded it this way. So I have more of the not used yet, still absorbent portion of the paper towel. And I just pinch that again. So then I throw that paper towel away, and I can get myself another one, fold it in half, go to my next cup, which is not as dirty because it hasn't been getting as much paint left in it. And I can clean that brush a little more. So, voila, hardly getting anything on it now. So if I wanted to, I could go to the final one, final cup, which hardly ever gets dirty, and do one more little swipe with my paper towel. And then that brush is pretty clean for all intents and purposes for using it. But let's say I left it out overnight and it kind of got stiff. Well, I'd go through the same process, just a little more carefully, and get that paint out of there. And then I'd probably put it in some linseed oil and let it sit for a little while, and let that paint that's down inside the ferrule or up close to the ferrule loosen up a little more. And then I'd go through the same process again and get the brush clean. And then when that's done, great. But you can see I hardly use that paper towel at all. Now, why would I want to have done that with a great big paper towel when I could do it with this little bit of a paper towel? And then this little bit of a paper towel. And then I can just let this one dry out. By the time I'm going to do something else, I could continue to use that and get it dirty before I chuck it. And this one here I could hold on to and still use the outside. So I don't just chuck it right away, but I could just drop it right there in the garbage can. But the paper towels, all cut in strips like this and piled right where I'm ready to use them, is just so handy. Paper towels are our friend as painters. They're a tool that we can use, enjoy, appreciate, and this is a way I think we can make best use of them. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. I hope that it can work into your painting practices and make painting more pleasurable to you. Less, oh, I got that on me. Oh, I keep getting it on my clothes. It's down on my pants. You know, there's just, it's avoidable. So I hope it helps you. I really like doing it this way. Gets me into a couple of movies I can watch while I'm preparing my towels. Anyway, it's just all good. I'd appreciate it if you would share this video, make comments, subscribe. That would be great. I'm going to continue to come out with more content that will be valuable to painters, as I presume it is based on my own experience. So thanks, and I'll see you next time. Take care.